Sorry, New Year's gets me really depressed. I'm only just streaming because I just need to get my mind off it. Not a fan of the holidays. I don't have anybody to spend them with.
うろたえものに愛を吐くのだ。真の愛情あるまじき失態です。
オリンポスの英雄として一歩も引けぬ。次は打ち破ってみせよ。
I never got into L Sword. It's not young enough to be into that game. Sorry, I'm not talking. I'm just depressed and I hate this time of year. Just shove all the stuff you're supposed to be doing down your throat, and I can't do any of those things. I don't have people to spend the holidays with. I don't party. All my friends are far away. They're married. I'm always by myself. Get sick of hearing about the holidays. Just shut up about it. Well, the damn neighbors are gonna keep doing illegal fireworks too, so they can't sleep. That pisses me off too. I don't know why they don't just watch them. Why do they have to make noise? Just watch them on TV. Same damn thing. They're going to start any minute now. It's probably going to go until like 2 in the morning. Police don't stop them from doing it for whatever reason. I know, I'm worried about the cats too, and they won't stop the stupid fireworks. So inconsiderate of other people. I have anxiety too, so they scare me. It's just too much fucking noise. It doesn't even matter. The ones on TV are better. Let's be considerate. Don't fucking do them. Just watch them. I just get tired of hearing of all the things I'm supposed to be doing and I can't. can't go spend it with my friends. I don't have anybody. Well, there's no need to make so much noise, and all the dogs are going to be barking too. Everyone here has a dog that won't shut up. The dogs bark non-stop. I get worried about the cats. They hate the fireworks. Why don't they just get drunk and go to sleep like everybody else? Make so much goddamn noise. It's all just an excuse to get drunk anyway. No one actually even follows the stupid resolutions they make. They just get drunk. It's like you can do that anytime. Why does it matter if it's New Year's? They're already starting. It's not even midnight yet. They're already doing it. I wish this mode was more fun. I wish it didn't have all this boring stuff like destroying pots and purifying these damn anchors. There's like too many of them. I just want to fight the officers. I don't want to do boring tasks. I get that they have to please all the people that want variety, that don't even enjoy playing these games in the first place, and all the reviewers that just button mash on easy and say the game is mindless, but there's better ways to do it than boring stuff like this, especially when it takes like 20 seconds to purify one. It takes too long. It's not interesting at all. At least the one where you purify it doesn't take forever. It's boring just standing there. You can't even attack. Wish reviewers that didn't even like these games didn't influence the decisions that developers make. They don't like playing them. All they like is walking sims and boring open world games. Games that take no skill. Why do we have to please them? They want stuff like this in the games. No one who actually plays them likes doing this. But because people still give them so much value, publishers want them to put this crap in. This mode had half the stupid gimmicks and it was faster. And there were more peons, like more officers. It would be a lot more fun. But you spend a lot of time just doing nothing. It very rarely just gives you an objective where you can just go around and fight stuff. I don't really understand why it's designed this way. At least, like, let me mash the button to do it fast. When they announced this, I thought that there was going to be, like, more action. More, like, large clumps of enemies, but it's like the problem is, by the time you start getting deep into the progression of this, there's nothing else in the game that's a challenge, except doing this. And it's just far too easy to get a bunch of the boring objectives in a row, and you can't even, like, enjoy it. The only place that has, like, really large groups of enemies and peons is the story mode. And once you start, like, promoting your characters and getting the ultimate weapons, you can basically just button mash through the whole story mode. There's nothing that can stand against you. You're taking, like, pixels of damage. And it's actually pretty well balanced here. You can still die, even if you're max promoted in this tower. It does require skill, but the problem is everything else in the game doesn't at this point. So they need to make this mode more fun and remove a lot of the boring stuff. You know, it's not like an MMO where you can play, like, a harder version of it, or there's, like, you know, raids or something that's always perpetually challenging to the player. You don't have that in this game. You have this, which is still pretty challenging. The Slay, like, barely does any damage to them at all, so you're actually encouraged to use the combo system, which, you know, for a person like me is really fun. But when you just constantly get objectives that don't allow you to use it, and there's just, like, not large clumps of enemies or anything, it starts to really bog you down. Yeah, I don't know why they designed it that way. Maybe it's just easier to just put the officers in designated spawn points instead of having them appear more random. Like, I actually did some of the infinite mode before I finished the story mode, before I finished the hidden chapter and everything. And basically the only thing that posed a threat to me was just random Muso attacks with crazy hitboxes. And nothing else could pose a threat at all. Which wouldn't be that big of a deal if it still wasn't the only place to have like a really fast-paced, fun fight. You think with the whole map being open and everything, and there being no talking and no gates and stuff, that it would be more fast-paced, but due to these filler objectives they put into the game, it's not. It's still very fun to play, but it definitely loses its luster quickly. I don't enjoy purifying these anchors. It's boring. There's too many of them, and the peons keep spawning. And a lot of it is just standing around instead of like actually engaging in anything. It's like the variety is supposed to be having fun with the combat, not stupid menial tasks that aren't fun past the first time you do them. It reminds me of Astral Chain. I hated that game. I'm really glad I did not feature that game on the channel at all, because it was mostly just me raging and complaining. I wasn't enjoying playing it. They kind of just bought it off the pedigree of the developers. I like pretty much most of the stuff that they put out, but that game was made by like a new director, and he's been saying stuff like action games haven't changed in 20 years. It's like, well, maybe there was a good reason for that. I don't really think action games need walking around and investigating stuff, which is basically just mashing through text and answering a couple questions, which is basically just reading comprehension. It's like not interesting at all, and then the combat was very clunky too. Felt like the game had an identity crisis. Like, did it want to be a detective game, or did it want to be a stylish action game? It didn't really feel like it did either very well. Oh, thank you for the donation. Happy New Year. What's up, Therns? I'm honestly pretty depressed because of New Year's, so I'm just gonna burn through this tower and play something else. I like this mode, but man, it's just such a slog sometimes. You need to like double the officer and peon count and remove all the boring objectives. And I think it would be more fun. I really only do one of these like every couple days. I get really burnt out on it. Oh, see, here's a fun one. Just fight some officers. I approve of that. I wish I could just get that all the time. Just have fun like doing speed runs and stuff, but the game doesn't let you. Let me die. Hey, what's up, man? Thank you. Also, you should not feel salty about not having Ultimate. It's not a bad game by any means. They improved a lot of things that really sucked and brought the original game down, but they're going to be making it a lot better with patches. And I've kind of like purposely been playing it less and less because the patch seems like it's going to make it a lot better. Plus, you don't have to play it at 20 FPS like I am right now. This is definitely the kind of game where frame rate, a higher frame rate, makes like a world of difference in terms of like the overall enjoyment. Some games it's fine, but stuff like this, I can't describe how much better it feels when it's not running at a shit frame rate. Remember, I played Strider 2014 on PS3, and then on the PS3 it runs at 30 FPS, and like 30 FPS platformers are like unacceptable. And I played it again on PC, and it was such a massive difference. No, he got out of that somehow. I don't know how he got out of that. I must have pushed him away too far. Later, man. Yeah, there's only a couple new maps, and they barely get used. They get used pretty much all at the end. Get punched. Sensei is such an awesome character, and he's always had such horrible movesets. His movesets are always terrible. Even his clone moveset, that stupid pizza cutter thing in Dynasty Warriors 9, that moveset's trash too. When are they gonna give the man a good moveset? They've always been terrible. He's one of my favorite characters, but at least Ling Tong's had like 2 or 3 decent movesets in his whole time he's been around. Like, this guy, movesets always suck. Give some Tonfas the love. Give the Tonfa some love. An actual good moveset. At least he kind of functions in this because of the range plus 20. That helps a lot of the bad characters. It's still a pretty shitty moveset. It only has a couple good moves. The extra EX attack does help make him somewhat functional, but still disappointing. Instead of trying to give him a good moveset in 9, they just give him that shitty pizza cutter. No, there are no Tonfas. They brought the Sansetsukan back. They didn't bring back the Tonfas. No, Sunsei is not allowed to have a functional moveset, apparently. He's either stuck with the Tonfas, which are never any good, or he's a clone. Alright, I don't feel like doing another one of those tonight. My biggest change I want them to make is to allow you to reconstruct that tower. If I could just spend money like the other tower to reset the objectives or refresh them and not have to do the ones I don't like or the ones that take too long, then I would be far more motivated to get more weapons, but it's just a real slog to play sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. And I looked at people playing on the PS4 version, and the peon and officer density isn't any better on there either. Alright, so probably another 2 runs these guys will get theirs, but I'm not going to do that right now. Yeah, I don't feel like doing 2,000 kills. I'm glad they added that mode, but it needs a ton of polish. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It gets really drab and boring. I feel like by trying to put in a bunch of half-assed variety into it, they actually made it worse in some ways. And what's worse is that by the time you get to that point, the story mode is completely trivial, even on Pandemonium mode. Nothing could really stand against you. So if you want to use all the cool stuff and levels and skill tree bonuses, you have to play Infinite mode. And it's just not really action-packed. It's like the opposite. I don't know how much of it they can change with patches. I mean, they did improve Dynasty Warriors 9 a lot with like a year and a half of patches. I don't think this game will get anywhere near as much support. I would like to be proven wrong, but I don't know. The thing about me playing Orochi a lot is that they already announced a patch like 2 days after it came out. So that just tells me that the game got rushed. The game just got rushed and they weren't able to put in all the polish that they wanted. So it kind of makes me feel like, why should I burn myself out on the game now if it's going to be a lot better later on? That happened to a lot of people in Dynasty Warriors 9. As much as people have a hate boner for that game, there are a lot of people who did want to go back for the updates, but they had already done everything in the game. And that's kind of a problem with video games in general now, is they keep updating them, and they release them half-finished. And by the time they're like a real game, or they're like twice as better as they were at the start, you've already exhausted all the content. No, I don't really want to get in that situation with Orochi. I really love the core combat in that game, but the Infinite mode, the way it is now, is just not anywhere near as fun as it should be. There's far too much luck, too. I mean, it took me, like, 5 hours to get Achilles to spawn? Like, by that point, I was already getting dangerously close to just giving up. There's way too much RNG, considering it's just characters you already have in the other mode. There's no, like, exclusive character or anything in there, like, Orochi 3. No real carrot on the stick besides the weapons. And you don't even need the weapons to, like, trivialize the story mode. By the time you start promoting your characters a couple times, you've already pretty much beaten the game. The story mode will never challenge you again. Well, if your last few characters are rare spawns, then you basically just have to reset or just keep playing until they spawn. Which is something I would be more inclined to do in like a you know, an MMO or something, or is actually like a good drop tied to it. But it's just the same character you already have. You may not even want to play that character. The last character is going to be different for everybody. But either way, it's a massive grind unless you get lucky, and I did not get lucky. I already made all the guides I wanted to make for the game anyway, so I don't really feel like I need to force myself to play it. I've forced myself to play games for the channel in the past, and it's really soured my enjoyment of them. Or it's made me play them far past, you know, when I was tired of them. Yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. Especially for something I actually do enjoy playing. No, I'm gonna wait on patches. That's why I started playing Honkai Impact PC version, and I'm gonna get premium on PSO2 tomorrow when my Patreon funds come in. And probably just play random stuff like this. Nothing's really coming out this month. It's the problem with games right now. It's like you can burn yourself out on them really fast. Because they ship them with like no content, or they're like broken games. By the time they make them better, you don't want to come back. It happened to a lot of people with Dynasty Warriors. It's probably why they stopped support for it finally. Not enough people were coming back. And they were pretty generous with that game too. I mean, they had a free trial and everything. Unfortunately, a first impression is everything. Which is kind of ironic because they keep shipping out games half finished. So your first impression's not going to be good in most cases anyway. It's really hard to get people to come back to something that didn't launch in the best situation or state. Pretty much the only one I can really think of is Final Fantasy XIV. Like, that game was a joke, and they managed to turn it into a really successful game somehow. It's not my kind of game at all. I don't like tab-target MMOs, but I appreciate the effort they're putting into it. Make it into something people actually want to spend their time and money on. I mean, to be honest with you, I was getting pretty burnt out on Dynasty Warriors 9. The last few updates they did were pretty terrible. That last update they did was like the worst way to send off the game's support. They just added a difficulty mode where they just added like a few extra zeros to the enemy's defense stat with no new or equivalent reward for doing it at all. It's the same thing you've already been doing for over a year. It just takes 10 times longer to kill one officer. And that was the last thing that they did. And like, when they announced the whole special edition, I was kind of glad. I'm like, you can't like even add anything worthwhile to the game anymore. It's better to just stop it and move on to whatever's coming next. I tried that mode for like 10 minutes. I haven't really booted up the game since. I'm not exaggerating either. It literally takes like 5 to 10 minutes to kill one officer in that mode. And they couldn't even be bothered to like add a new gem or something to make it like actually worth doing that. There's no way for the player to accommodate for the enemies, the AI's power creep. Usually when you add crazy scaling like that in a game, there's like some way for the player to compensate, but not there. Yeah. This was my game of the year 2019. I'm not gonna lie. This is like such a good game. It helps that I grew up with this game, but it's a really good remake on its own. Because I'm an old man and I was 8 when this game came out. This track is so good. Thank you. Thank you. I honestly get depressed around the holidays, but I decided to actually do something instead of just wallowing in it. I'll feel better tomorrow. I get paid from you guys tomorrow, the people that back me on Patreon, so I'll find something cool to buy. I'm gonna get PSO2 Premium tomorrow, most likely. And whenever the Orochi patch comes out, I'll come back to that game. I'm gonna have a lot more fun playing it on PC anyway, because the frame rate won't be terrible. But right now, I'm pretty burnt out on that game. I keep getting hit by that. I haven't played this far in a while. Sometimes I just play through the first half. It's such a relaxing game for me. I have 1 CC this game, but I don't have video proof of it. The only proof I have is I took a video clip from the Switch built-in recording because I did it at my neighbor's house. I want to get video proof at some point. It's probably not going to be tonight. Level 5, the ninja guy is like the gatekeeper. That's probably the hardest part, and then the with this character, the final boss, Bangler, that's you need a lot of good spacing and some luck. I have like barely any health. This might be the end of the credit right here. I took too much damage. When I have max damage combos, I might be alright. Just gonna start doing the staff lasers soon. There we go. Best track in the game incoming. Well, January 16th, Super Crush KO. That game looks pretty cool. February is Orochi, which doesn't really apply to me because I've already cleared all the content in that game. But I'm a special case because I bought the Switch version, which has English. March 26th is One Piece Part Warriors 4. And that's pretty much it for what's been currently announced. There's supposed to be a Nintendo Direct, I believe, next week. That's what the rumor is, so, I mean, they're going to have to start talking about their first quarter games pretty soon, because it's pretty barren right now. All they really have is Animal Crossing, which is a big game in its own right, but they need to announce more to keep their momentum up, so... Hopefully they'll have some cool niche games. I pretty much only watch those because they announce stuff like this. This is not like the kind of game that the average gamer would really be interested in. You know, pixel graphics, kind of old-style gameplay. More of an arcade game. But they always announce stuff like that during those directs, things that I'm interested in. So I'll sit through the 80 hours of Smash news to chance they'll announce something like this. This was my game of the year last year, for sure. This is probably the best game I played last year, in terms of having nothing that really pissed me off, or things about it I didn't like. There are some changes they made to the original game I don't like, but it's still a very high-quality game. I just hope enough people buy their game so that they can keep making stuff like this. I bought 2 copies of this, so I did my part. I'm taking too much damage. Alright, time for the Gatekeeper. This is probably where the credit's gonna die. I haven't practiced this boss in a long time. Music's badass, though. It's a remake, but they, like, completely redid all the pixel art. They remixed the music. They added 2 new characters, so... It's way more than a remake generally gets. Any remake, let alone a retro one. Shit. Yep, there goes the credit. Right on cue. If I hadn't taken so much damage from the sumo guys, I probably could have gotten somewhere. Alright, I'm gonna play something else now, or just stop. I knew that was gonna happen. That boss is the Gatekeeper for 1cc attempts. Because he can block, he can command grab you with like almost no startup. Also the kick, the little karate kick he does can be really hard to react to. I'm kind of glad. I wanted to commentate my 1cc attempt anyway, so if that had gotten all the way to the end, I wouldn't have been satisfied. I'm going to switch back to PC, probably for a little bit, and go to bed. Well, it's a remake of a game from 1994. It's a very old game. It's a game that not a lot of people played. I don't think they printed many copies. Most people I've talked to that played it, they played it during the emulation era, like when Z-SNES and SNES 9X were like the big emulators, and all the games started getting dumped and stuff. That's when a lot of people played it. But I was one of the few people I actually grew up with that game. I think my grandpa bought it for me, so I played the shit out of that game. So when they announced that they were making a remake, I was really happy. I was kind of worried that they would screw it up. They did a really good job. They even reversed the censorship from the original game, from the U.S. version. The U.S. version only had those purple-haired like Wolverine midget guys. The Kunoichi were not in it at all, so there was like a whole enemy type missing. So we played the U.S. version. That was one of the shitty parts of the game, was that there were like twice more of those Wolverine midget guys than there were supposed to be by the intended. So like remove the censorship. They added new moves to the game. They added juggles. They remixed the music. They put the old music in. I was actually using the old soundtrack there. They completely redrew all the pixel art, and then they added 2 new characters. So it's like it's a remake and it's not at the same time. Like the content of the game is the same, but everything surrounding it, from like the playable characters to the graphics and the music and everything, was completely redone. I actually have a physical copy of it because it's a very sentimental game to me. Alright, I mean, give me a second to switch to PC. Alright, well, unlike the 4th of July, I was expecting there to be like 2 hours of fireworks. They're already done. So I don't really have a reason to stay up. Normally, 4th of July here, there's like tons of people doing illegal fireworks until like 1 or 2 in the morning, and it's really obnoxious. But this year, they're not doing that for New Year's, I guess. Basically, on the 4th of July, I don't count on getting any sleep at all, because like a lot of the people here, they use illegal fireworks. It's like impossible to get any sleep, but it seems like they're done. So I want to see what's going on Honkai Impact, and I'm gonna go to bed. Tomorrow is payday, or today is payday. Can get PSO2 Premium. Probably get like maybe like 1 or 2 more things off the Steam sale, and figure out what I'm gonna do for the month for games.
Captain on bridge.
務開始します。少し厄介ですね。静かな時ほど危険なものです。まあまあでしたね。
I can't imagine playing this on emulator. I mean, on like an actual phone. I'm pretty much only playing it because they put it on PC. It seems like this company actually tries to give a damn about what their customers want. A lot of these mobile game companies don't care. Yeah, stuff like King of Fighters All-Star. That game plays way better with a controller. Like, exponentially better, and they won't bother to use all the money they're making on microtransactions to port it. I hate the character designs. I hate how they're all just generic moe blobs, but the gameplay is good enough. I'm not into the whole anime waifu thing at all. I find those kinds of characters annoying. Please stop talking. Okay. Their voices too, I can't stand their voices. I wish the character designs were not so generic. Yeah, God Eater 3 will probably be this week. Tomorrow I'm paying off my my PSO2 Premium, so I'll be playing that, but I do want to finish that. Apparently they fixed a lot of the problems people had with it. God Eater 3. I recommend Tokiden 2. The PC port runs at 60 FPS. And you don't really need a party. You don't need actual human players to play it with. It's not like Monster Hunter. Both Tokiden 2 and God Eater 3 are very solo-friendly games. Which is nice. I know from experience how hard it is to get anybody to play anything but Monster Hunter. So it's nice that you can play those games by yourself. The AI in Tokiden Kiwami and Tokiden 2 is really good. Like, they're actually better than a lot of the human players I was playing with. They are very competent. You're not really forced to play online. I mean, there's probably no one left playing at this point anyway, but either way, it's not really shoved down your throat. I'd argue Tokiden 2 has better customization, but if you want a really fast, responsive game, then God Eater 3 is perfect. They fixed a lot of the problems that the other two God Eater games had, where like melee combat was trash, and the meta was basically just spamming custom bullets forever. They made God Eater 3 a lot better. I dropped the first two games because just the combat wasn't very good.
口ほどにもない。任務完了。
Pacifist run. Stealth Master. I was not expecting to get past that last group of them there. Get bodied. This chick is like mad strong. I don't even have her maxed out yet. Nowhere near. Glad they have like a character that actually looks like a warrior instead of just little lollies screaming. There are some cool character designs in this. The chick with the broadsword is pretty cool. All the little lollies and stuff I can't stand. I'm not into that stuff at all. But I do understand it makes them money, so whatever.
任せて。絶対メイ先輩に近づけさせる。本気で私に勝てると思ってる。寝るなよ。負けるものか。このボロボロなやつは。こんな簡単なクエストのために呼び出さないでよ。任せて。あいあいさ。ロックとアートローデット。治療はいらない。メイ先輩。お腹すいた。メイ先輩のお弁当食べたいな。あいあいさ。
Sound like the cats I take care of when they want food. These dumb lollies. Can't believe people are into this stuff. I find them annoying. But this game has pretty solid gameplay, and it's something to play while I wait for other stuff to come out. Probably just gonna turn off the voices. This character's voice especially is very nauseating.
どこへ行くのよ。戻っちゃいそう。
No, they were very adamant when the game was announced that they were not going to add them for whatever reason. I don't know why. I feel like the game desperately would need them. Not a lot of people played Spirit of Sanada. And could have benefited from some characters that are not just recycled from the last game that not many people enjoyed playing in the first place, like Achilles, who's just kind of there.
あいあ いさ。本気で私に勝てると思ってるの？ふっはっはっやっはっふっはっはっふっふっはっはっはっノクト&ローネットふっはっはっはっふっはっはっはっふっ食べるなよ。はっはっはっふっは絶対メイ先輩にふっはネコちゃん。
Yeah, it makes no sense at all. You're right.
ショータイムの始まりだ。嫌なのさ。本気で私に勝てると思ってる。何ぼーっとしてるの？艦長。
I don't really think the game was a cash grab, it's just that they rushed it out because Dynasty Warriors 9 launched in such a bad state and it got bad reviews even for a Muso game. And Muso games generally don't get good reviews in the first place because they keep getting people who don't like beat 'em ups to play them. But Dynasty Warriors 9 in particular had way worse reviews than any of the other games. And it also came at a time when they were actually starting to get higher reviews because Hyrule Warriors and Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition and Fire Emblem Warriors came out around the same time. And those games, I think, actually did pretty well review-wise. Mostly because Koei doesn't fuck around when they're dealing with someone else's IP, so the games tend to be better. I think Fire Emblem Warriors is a much better game than Hyrule Warriors, even though it has like half the content. But they're both still high quality games in their own right, and I don't know if it was just the Zelda, the Nintendo IPs or what, but it seems like the reviewers actually like those games. And then Dynasty Warriors 9 comes out and basically ruins all the momentum they had. So they probably had investors telling them to put something out really fast. I would not be surprised if that was the case. Which is why Ultimate has fixed a lot of the problems that the original one had, even though it's obviously a very low budget expansion. I don't think they put anywhere near as much money into it as they did with the last game. Last game they added like way more cutscenes, there was tons more characters, they added a new mode, they added new mechanics and stuff. And Orochi 4 Ultimate is pretty much just fixing as much as they could with barely any resources. That's basically what it is. Nothing good in here today. This is all junk. None of the stuff I need to level up my weapon either. Well, they got a new director for Orochi 4 Ultimate, and I can tell that dude tried to fix the mess he was given, but he was also given like no resources to do said fixing with. And it's very apparent how low budget the whole game feels compared to 3 Ultimate. You know, they had like a new opening cutscene, they had like more comprehensive story expansions and stuff. And 4 Ultimate has like nothing of the sort at all. And I think the guy did a damn good job with what he was given, but it's hard to improve something that has such a poor foundation. Poor or poorly polished foundation. It's not impossible, but you need like a hell of a lot of time and resources. And the guy clearly wasn't given either. So for the game to turn out as well as it did, I mean, it's the best it probably could be. It's not bad. But at the same time, I don't really see why I should burn myself out playing it now when they're going to be making it a lot better. Seems kind of dumb to do that, really, to be honest with you. Okay, so this game is weird. Like, the server doesn't reset at the exact same time. Like, you have... Like, it just gave me the daily login because it's 1 a.m. in California right now, where I am. I guess that's what the server is based in, too. But the actual events and stuff don't reset until, I think, 10 a.m. my time. So I can't really do much of anything right now. So I think I'm going to go ahead and call it there. Let me see exactly what it is I need to upgrade. Well, they already said that something big's supposed to be happening this year. Keep in mind, this year's the 20th anniversary, so they have to have something planned. The 10th anniversary, we got Dynasty Warriors 7, and I think that was one of my favorite Dynasty Warriors games, actually, because of the weapon switch mechanic. They're obviously in no position to put out like a Dynasty Warriors 10 or anything, but there's obviously going to be something coming. Something big's on the way for sure. Most likely, but that game's also been in development hell for a long time. I think they're aware of how sick people are of the same movesets, and the efforts they made to refreshed them. Didn't really work too well. Godspeed as a mechanic, it sounds good on paper. You know, the character goes faster and you can get through the peons faster, but you can't use it on the officers. So fighting the officers was basically just the same way it's been since Samurai Warriors 2. And I guess they're just trying to figure out how they can make like 50 unique movesets and change the combat in the same game. Because having another game like Dynasty Warriors 9 where like half the cast is cloned is not going to do them any favors as a company. So I imagine they're trying to figure out how they can do that. Another game with those same movesets from 2006 is not going to cut it. Samurai Warriors 4 was already pushing it. I feel like they did a little bit of effort to try to make them not so ancient and boring to use, but there's only so much that can be done with recycled assets. You know, some of the characters like Mitsuhide and Ginchio, like they got like their moveset like truncated, like they don't have to go to like charge 8 and charge 9 anymore. But it was still the same animations, it was still the same moves with the same properties. Last I heard about Samurai Warriors 5, they're like been in development hell. It's like they know they desperately need to change the way that the combat works and change the ancient movesets, but doing so is such a massive undertaking. It won't be as bad as Dynasty Warriors because Samurai Warriors has like what like 60% of the characters that Dynasty Warriors has. It has like what like 50, 45 or 50 now. And Dynasty Warriors is pretty close to having 100. So it's not as much of a workload, but I don't know. If they have like random characters with spears and stuff for no reason, then that's going to piss off a lot of people. So I don't know what this year's game will be. It'll probably be a mainline game, but it obviously won't be Dynasty Warriors 10. I don't really think they'll build upon Dynasty Warriors 9 anymore either. Seems like the kind of thing where they need to just kind of cut their losses and move on to something else. I don't think putting any more content into that game is really going to change the overall perception. They need to just make a brand new game completely. But it takes time to make good games, lots of time and money. I guess they thought Dynasty Warriors 9 was going to like be this big success, and probably could have been if they had put more time into it, but unfortunately investors breathe down your neck to put stuff out yesterday, even though it needs like another year of development most of the time. All right, well, I'm gonna crash. Uh, Whenever my Patreon comes in, I'm gonna buy premium on PSO2. Try to get back into that. That'll be a good time sink. I already have a pretty decent account on there. There's not really much left on the Steam sale I'm really interested in buying, and if it is, it's probably not something that I would feature on the channel. I was kind of looking at Fighting EX Layer, but I hear that game has Garbo single player content and nobody plays it online. So I don't know if I want to drop 15 bucks on that. I could easily put it into like Honkai Impact or something, which is probably what I'll do. So I shall be back probably in the morning before lunch or after, depending on when my Patreon comes in. So I have like no cash right now. I have to wait until I get paid from Patreon from you guys. So yeah, Happy New Year. I will be back probably in the morning or afternoon. Darksiders Genesis? Yeah, I was kind of looking at that actually. Thank you for reminding me. Let me see how much that is before I go. That's a very good idea. Thank you. I think it's like 23 bucks on CD keys or something. $23 on 2-game. It's 23 on CD Keys. That's usually where I buy my stuff. Cheap games anyway. I have like all the other good stuff in here, so yeah, maybe I'll grab that. I don't know how interested people would be in watching that. I don't know how much I'll like it, but for $20, I spend more than that on pizza this week, so we'll see. Catch you guys tomorrow.